So my name is Rita Fleming, and my background is in regenerative health. I'm a regenerative detox specialist, and I thought it'd be super fun to talk about whole food vitamins today and what's the difference between synthetic vitamins that we get and vitamins that we get from our whole foods. And there's actually a really big difference. Hi, welcome everyone. So when we get our vitamins from synthetic versions that are made in a lab, a lot of times it's made up of isolates or isolated chemistry. And isolated chemistry, our body doesn't actually know what to do with that, versus a whole food has all of its nutrition and different phytochemical components that all work together. And all plants that we eat, have different chemistry to them. And some of the plants that we eat, they have different bitters, they have different sweets, they have different phytonutrients that on their own, they're actually would be seen as poisonous, but when it's added with another component of the plant, it's neutralized and used as medicine. And so that's why it's really important to have your whole foods or your vitamins in their whole food form, because it's synergistic. And that synergistic chemistry works with our biology, making it more bioavailable. Now, all of our cells have to eat on a daily basis. So there's a few components to digestion. First, we're digesting our food. Our pancreas really produces the enzymes to help break down that food. And then that's working and it's taking complex proteins into our amino acids. And once they're in their amino acid form, that's what the body actually utilizes and absorbs at the cellular level. And then, it takes our fats and turns them into fatty acids. It breaks them down. And it takes our carbohydrates and it breaks it from a complex sugar into a simple sugar. And again, that's what our body uses for cellular energy, is that simple sugar. And it has to go through the different digestive processes. And then the next component is absorption. It needs to, those minerals, those vitamins, those phytonutrients need to be absorbed by our gut microbiome. And that really happens in the villi of the large intestine and the small intestine. And when our intestines get backed up, specifically from mucus forming foods, and the top mucus forming foods are going to be your breads, your floury foods, those leave a mucus residue in the gut that can stop that full absorption, as well as your sugars, your processed sugars. And, your dairies are also mucus forming. So that does impact your level of absorption. And then we also have microbiome diversity, which is really important for absorption. So we'll get a little bit more into soil health and gut health and why those are so important. But that gut microbiome diversity is really important because that dictates what we're craving for foods. That dictates what our body is wanting, based on the microorganisms that are living in our gut, and those break down the foods as well. And then we have our absorption, we have our digestion, and then we need to get into the utilization at the cellular level. And this is where it gets really interesting. So there's two sides of chemistry. There's the alkaline side of chemistry, and there's the acidic side of chemistry. And all of our foods leave either an alkaline ash after they've been digested, and they leave that ash residue in our body, or they leave an acidic ash residue in our body. And both are made up of different mineral components and constituents. And so what's interesting is that third level of utilization in the body is cellular absorption. And that does come back to our gut microbiome diversity and all that else that we talked to, our pancreas health, our liver health, but it also comes back to the chemistry in our body, because that last level is the blood delivering the nutrients to the cells, which also has to be processed by the liver. And so when we're in an acidic environment, the blood actually coagulates. If you were to look at it under a microscope, you would see, it's really cool, a blood analysis. If you've never done it, they're amazing. It's a complete mirror into your internal world and what's going on, and a reflection of how you feel. So if we're in an acidic environment, that blood really coagulates and sticks together. And that stops nutrients from entering the cells. And it also stops the elimination, because our cells need to eat on a daily basis to have energy and repair. And they also need to eliminate on a daily basis. And that elimination is what keeps our cells healthy and young and vibrant. That's how our body gets rid of inflammation. So the elimination happens and it goes into our lymphatic system. And our lymphatic system is throughout our entire body. All of our cells, all of our organs, our glands, our tissues are eliminating into our lymphatic system, so that then that lymph can be eliminated out of our kidneys, out of our urinary tract. So we talk a lot about kidney filtration and kidney health in regenerative health, because it truly is the foundation of how our body repairs and regenerates and eliminates those cellular wastes and those cellular acids that would otherwise create harm at the cellular level. So that's when we start to get into cellular repairs, when we eliminate those acid wastes. So then on the other side, the flip side of chemistry, we have the alkaline chemistry. And if you were to look under a microscope, you would see that the cells are no longer clumped together in an alkaline chemistry. They're free flowing like a river. And this means the cells can actually absorb their nutrition and eliminate their wastes. So you can see the difference between like basically a stagnant pond, everything's clumped together, stuck together, not enough oxygen, not enough nutrition, which leads to cellular damage and cellular death if it's long-term. On the other side of chemistry, the alkaline chemistry, you have, this free flowing cells that are getting their nutrition, their absorption, and they're eliminating. And what that equates to is strong, healthy, vibrant cells and the body's ability to eliminate any weakened or damaged cells. So that's why chemistry is so important. And when you get into whole foods, the majority of your plants and your herbs and your fruits and your veggies all have an alkaline chemistry. And especially when they're in their whole food form. So it's giving you cellular absorption. Your fresh fruits are actually absorbed directly into the cells through a process called cellular diffusion, which translates into cellular energy or cellular ATP. So that is very different than when we're getting synthetic vitamins that are made in a lab, which oftentimes have an acidic chemistry. And they're also isolates, meaning your body actually can't fully absorb and utilize them. And that means your liver has to process it. Everything that our body digests and absorb, our liver has to process. And so when we're dealing with synthetic vitamins, that's a lot more for the liver to process. And then also what it does is, it's in that synthetic form. So it has to if it's not used by your body, it gets sent to the lymphatic system. And this can back up our lymphatic system or our sewage system and our waste system, creating greater levels of inflammation in the body and decreasing the body's ability to absorb nutrition. So, in our whole foods, it's actually cleansing the body, it's oxygenating the body. We're using all of that phytochemistry, our body's utilizing it and sending it to where it's needed in the body. And I'll go through the different vitamins and what plants they're in, but all of the different vitamins and phytonutrients are utilized in different areas, different systems of our body, whether it's our brain and nervous system or our heart and our circulatory system, or it's cleaning up our lymphatic system. So it's really, to me, I'm so adamant about getting my food from whole foods, or my vitamins from whole foods. And they're really, not all foods are grown in the same way. So this is where we get into soil science and soil health. And this is a subject that I just, want all of us to be educating ourselves more on and sharing and open up this discussion so it becomes more mainstream, because it's so important. And if you look, basically in our conventional agriculture, where there's a lot of different, like glyphosate is sprayed and different chemicals are sprayed, that kills off the soil microbiome. And when there's no soil microbiome, there's no ability for the plants to absorb the nutrition. And B, when we're overgrowing in our soils and we're not rebuilding them with nutrition and giving them a break and restoring the biodiversity, then we get nutrient devoid soils and we get nutrient devoid foods. And so I don't know if you've ever been in the grocery store, and I've had this experience before where I'm looking at all of these fruits and these veggies and they're colorful, but they don't feel like they have vibrancy to them, or that they have much life force. It just feels like they're dead almost. And that's a lot of what we're dealing with, is food that is so nutrient devoid. And when you're working with food that is grown in healthy soils, grown with either regenerative practices or using agroforestry, or where they're replenishing that biodiversity of the microbiome of the soil, then the studies show that, a carrot that is grown in healthy soil has 200 times the level of antioxidants than a carrot that is grown conventionally. So that's huge. And about 70 times the level of nutritional value from one carrot. So it's really important where we get our food from, and the biophotonics of that food, the bioenergetics of that food, meaning the level of energy and nutrition it's going to give us. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I agree. So this is a very, very important subject, something that I'm incredibly passionate about. And I want to go through some of the whole food vitamins. What are some of their actions and properties, and how can we get them? So let's start with vitamin A. A lot of you know this. It's that kind of bright orange color. It really supports and boosts our immune system. It builds our resistance to infections. It keeps our tissues in good health. And then vitamin A and vitamin B2 work together to help keep the mucous membranes of our gastrointestinal tract healthy. And again, that's really important for absorption. And some of the best sources of vitamin A are in your tomatoes, your carrots, your kale, your turnip greens, your spinach, broccoli, squash, yams, that bright orange color, your watermelon, asparagus, apples, apricots, prunes, papayas. And I'm happy to send this list out to everyone after this call. Avocados, paprika, pumpkin and lemongrass are some of the best sources of your vitamin A. So just getting an abundance of that, especially of foods that are nutrient dense, grown in healthy soils, which we can share solutions and access to that. B1 is really important for your nervous system health. It also keeps your digestive system functioning. It helps to produce hydrochloric acid so that your body can break down your foods in the digestive process to help with that absorption of them. Some of the best sources are from peas, lentils, seeds, nuts, beans. Beets are an amazing source, oranges, leafy greens, vegetables, blackstrap molasses, okra, sunflower seeds, Brazil nuts, and rice bran and brown rice are also really great ways to get your B1 in. B2, that helps to boost your immune system. It's really essential for the growth of your hair, your nails, your skin, really important for eye health. And it also helps you to metabolize your proteins and your carbohydrates. So that's really important again for our absorption. And again, some of the best whole food sources are your green vegetables, your rice bran, avocados, grains, wheat germ, almonds, sunflower seeds, Brussels sprouts. Prunes are a great source. The tops of your beets, as well as apples and bananas and carrots and grapefruit and kelp and coconut. So you can see if you're getting a variety and abundance of whole foods, you're going to be getting these vitamins in. B3 is really important for proper circulation. It's also known as niacin. So what it does is it helps to bring that circulation throughout your whole body, which also helps with repair and regeneration. Really important for your nervous system health and your gastrointestinal tract as well. And some of the best sources are wheat germ, brown rice, sunflower seeds, potatoes, green veggies, almonds, rhubarb, whole barley, and brown rice, or actually, excuse me, rice bran. And B5 is really important because it also regulates your metabolism of your fats and your carbohydrates. It's important for your adrenal glands. And we've had other discussions before, but our adrenal glands are the foundation of our nervous system health because they're producing our neurotransmitters. And then they're also very important for our mood, our emotional well-being, our ability to cope with stress. They're important for female and male reproductive health. They're important for energy production. So we're not getting that proper cellular energy without adrenal gland health. And, you know, these foods that are high in B5 are good to de-stress the body. And this includes peas, royal jelly, green vegetables, avocados, bananas, broccoli, collard greens, oranges, beans, molasses. So those are all very, very important. And all of these vitamins work synergistically together as well. So your B6 helps you to metabolize your fats and your carbohydrates as well. And it's really important for your brain and your nervous system function, as well as important for the function and repair of your DNA and your RNA. It also really supports the healthy blood and promotes red blood formation, and normal hemoglobin levels, as well as cellular respiration. So some of the best sources are, again, your leafy green vegetables, your bananas, your avocados, your wheat germ, your walnuts, your cantaloupe and your cabbage and your green peppers, your carrots, your brown rice, your honey, prunes, hazelnuts, potatoes, and sunflower seeds. Let me know if anybody has any questions so far. Awesome. So B9 is also important for your red blood cells and for your production of DNA and RNA and your amino acid metabolism. So the building blocks of life, really utilizing that so the body can, or breaking that down so that your body can utilize it. And this is primarily found in your green leafy vegetables, your asparagus, your lima beans, your Brussels sprouts, dates, and cantaloupes. And B12 is one that is super important. And this actually comes back to our gut microbiome health. So if we have the proper diversity happening in our gut microbiome, then we're actually going to be producing our own B12. But that's an important one to really measure. Make sure that you're getting enough. So to get a panel and make sure, and that is one that you might have to supplement to make sure that you're getting enough of it. But the best sources are, well, first, it's really important for the regeneration of your red blood cells and important for the growth of your cells and your body. But the best sources are sunflower seeds, comfrey leaves, kelp, banana, Concord grapes. And then we have B13, and that really supports the body with calcium absorption and we have B15, and that helps. This is really important. It helps to get the proper level of oxygen to your tissues to avoid hypoxia, which is insufficient oxygen into your tissues and cells. And some of the best sources of that are your seeds, your nuts, your brown rice. So that's important. And then your B17 is really anti-cancerous. Some of the best sources are your raspberries, cranberries, apricots, apricot pits, your blackberries, your mung beans, your lima beans, your garbanzos, your flax seeds, your peach. So that's your peaches. So that's really important. And I think we're seeing a theme here of how your fresh fruits and your veggies and getting an abundance of them and a variety of them is so important. So some of the actions of B15 are that it activates the repair and the growth of your tissues. It boosts your immune system. It's high in antioxidants. It supports your organs and your glands and your connective tissues. And it also can lower cholesterol levels. And it's also really important for collagen production, your healthy skin, and your mucous membranes, like we talked about before. And all fruits and veggies are a great source of this, but specifically your strawberries, your blackberries, your citrus fruits, your tomatoes, your peppers, your apples, your persimmons. So those are really important. And we won't go through all the vitamins, but I do want to highlight vitamin D, as that is such an important one right now, because it also helps your absorption of calcium. It does boost your resistance to infections. It is really important for your formation of teeth and bones. And it really, we can get it from the sun as well. But it's important to get enough levels of vitamin D to really protect our immune system. So some of the best sources are from sprouted seeds, alfalfa, mushrooms, sunflower seeds, sunshine, and wheat germ. All right, and I'll just do one more. Vitamin E. This is also known as tocotrienols. It also helps to oxygenate your tissues. It reduces your body's need for oxygen intake. It's really important for your reproductive organs and your heart. It also protects your cell membranes. And some of the best sources are your unprocessed and unrefined vegetable oils, your raw and sprouted seeds and nuts, and your green leafy vegetables, as well as brown rice and wheat germ and peas and lettuce and spinach and broccoli and asparagus and avocados. So when we're talking about vitamins from whole foods, it's important that we're also supporting all of our digestive organs so that we're properly absorbing them. And so I just want to thank you all so much for being here and taking in this information. I can send this information out to you if you want to learn more. And if someone invited you here, it's because they really care about you and, they're part of our regenerative health community. And what we're working with is whole food superfoods that are grown in healthy soils, which means they're nutrient dense. And then they're vine ripened. And most of the foods, at our grocery store are not vine ripened. So usually foods are picked early, which already means that they're lower in their nutrient density. Usually they're also grown, there's only 1% of foods really grown in nutrient dense soils. So it's important, and you feel the difference. Like the second I got these superfoods into my body just lit up. It was like all the lights came on, and I was no longer looking in the fridge like, what am I missing? I can't figure it out. And that was due to the micronutrient, the phytonutrients that I was not getting from the grocery store. So how we grow our food is really important. Supporting regenerative and organic farmers, so vital. And if we can transform our food system, we can transform our healthcare. We can transform our health. We can transform our economic system. We can our environmental system as well, because when our soils are depleted and they aren't healthy, that's what creates this runoff, where the soil loses its structure. And then we start to get soil runoff in our water sources, which is also contaminated by glyphosate. And glyphosate, what it does is it stops our absorption of our essential amino acids, which is the building blocks of life. So, we're working to detox glyphosate from the body. We're working to share education to get solutions to, stop using Roundup in our communities and in our parks and in our schools, and also in our food sources. So this is really, really important. So if you want to learn more about some of our superfoods and how to get this nutrient dense whole food vitamins into your body, please connect in with the person that invited you. We do host 30-day transformation programs as well that are guided by myself and our other regenerative specialists and our whole community here, which all share their amazing gifts. So our mission is really just to share education, share solutions, and our bodies are amazing. The reason I got into regenerative health was to heal my own body. I was dealing with chronic pain for over 10 years from a near-death car accident, and regenerative health, understanding digestion and absorption and utilization, understanding the chemistry of the body, understanding our lymphatic system and our kidney filtration. Through those principles, I've been able to 100% get out of pain. I'm back to all of my athletics and sports thanks to these superfoods, which brought me back to my athleticism and fitness from 15 years ago, which I hadn't been in since high school. So yeah, whatever questions you have, please, link up with our community, connect in with us. We are hosting a group health reset starting on the 10th. So again, just connect in to the person that invited you here and they will set you up with all the information. And thanks everybody for being here. Are there any final questions?